Tonight, the historic Firestone building will serve as the backdrop for the 24-karat gold fashion experience, an evening filled with fashion from local and national emerging designers. Travis Kyle is one of those designers. He joins us this morning with a sneak peek of his new collection. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning.
You're originally from Kansas City.
I am.
That March rate hike, and also we're seeing turmoil in Europe. We have elections coming up in the Netherlands and France. So gold's been on a monster run lately. Let's talk about this one. Google's self-driving car unit Waymo is still
two important things.
And they need to make the toilets bigger. That would be my recommendation.
Okay, I have no comment on that one.
The bathrooms are so small.
All right, well, award season's biggest night. Let's switch over to that. It's almost here, and we're talking about the Oscars, and they are this Sunday. So who will be the night's big winners?
Time, if you can't stay up for any of them or all of them, tune in 5 a.m. Monday morning. FBN AM is going to have you all of the night's big moments.
And Jimmy Kimmel is hosting, so it's sure to be entertaining.
Yes.
All right. Well, speaking of winners, the Dow continues its record run for the 10th straight day and up another 1% so far this week. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin told our Maria Bartiromo that the Trump economic plan is the main driver.
House about creating jobs. Good morning. I'm Lauren Simonetti.
And I'm Leah Gabriel, and for our Nicole Petalides. And then 10 a.m. here in New York on Thursday, February 23rd. Welcome to FBN AM, your first look at what's moving today's markets and the latest breaking news. Petalides, the Trump rally rolls on, the Dow hitting its 8th straight.
Good morning to you. It is Wednesday, February 22nd, hump day, halfway through the week. Welcome to FBN AM, your first look at what's moving in today's markets and the latest breaking news.
And breaking news this morning,
And the reason that Snap wants to be compared to Facebook is that since Facebook's IPO, its shares are up almost 300%, Twitter's are down about 40.
Yep. I think those glasses would look short, little flight,
Leah's
maybe.
gonna fly her own plane.
I will. It doesn't take me that far, though.
I wanna feel my heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody.
Welcome back to FBN AM. It is 5:15 a.m. here in New York City, and let's get you caught up on what's happening now. The Trump Doug, and coming up in sports, from the game.
Yes,
Tom Brady
that's
must.
the sweat of victory.
Yes.
In weather, hundreds rescued as chest-deep floodwaters trap people inside their. That's your good news, and we go to Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz with the very latest. Hey, Adam, good morning.
Hey, good morning, and you'll be talking about that a little bit more coming up later in the show, guys.
Bring out the spring jackets.
Yep,
Thank
you
you
know it.
so much, Adam. See you soon.
And coming up, we will have a reaction to the Gabriel and for Nicole Petalides and the
Hey, team, I know we're tight on time, but I really need a sick day tomorrow.
Moms don't take sick days. Moms take night.
We are continuing our series on workers' compensation with Catherine Stone of Barbas Law. Today we're talking statute of limitations. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So let's dive right in. There's some things that people need to know about this.
Exactly. So you have a certain time frame within which to keep your case open.
Okay.
Cases can last for years and years and years.
One of the first things before we were diving into this, I said, do people often maybe a year or 2 years go by and they go, wait a minute, I may be eligible for work.
Thanks to Old Spice Hydro Wash, my quest for hydration was finally over. Was it a mistake to use my only water to take a shower in a place devoid of all water? Only the sense of time can be the judge of that.
Event.
Motorbee LeBlanc, again, prolific off the tee. It's a matter of whether she can dial in this short game. She's driving it beautifully, and that is a wonderful shot to set up a very makeable birdie.
That was a big bounce, landed at the front of the green, took out the steam, and then just ran down beautifully to the hole.
Well, may she smile.
Oh, there's a caddy on the bag. He looks very young indeed.
Well, it's her birthday this week. Turned 28 on Valentine's Day. Lead of 2 for Putnam.
Americans, 83% try to eat healthy, yet up to 90% fall short in getting key nutrients from food alone. Let's do more. Add One A Day Men's, complete with key nutrients we may need, plus heart health support with B vitamins. One A Day Men's in gummies and tablets.
Second chip 6 and I win. I think it's on the smaller side of the chip with the fire on it. But it's the right shot. You like this too, don't you? Yeah, you love it.
Straight back into the wind. Realistically, you almost need to fly it all the way back there to get it close. This one's just leaking a little, but oh, that's rolling out perfectly.
Top shot. Well thought out. Well executed.
Wives should always listen to their husbands.
Excuse me.
Great dynamic between Dwayne and Sarah Jane. Yeah, that was a dangerous comment. No to me.
It's all right. We still love you, Quinn. Kate Burton's throwing chocolate muffin at you right now. It's a good play as well from LeBlanc.
Seemed to be a nice stroke for Headwell. This one just drawing to the left side of the green.
Oh, and just carries just past the crest of the hill. And the green drops off towards the back, so perhaps carried maybe a metre or two too far.
Sarah Murray, first joining me, one of our White House correspondents. And so, Sarah Murray, why aren't we there?
That is a great question, Brooke. We lined up. We were told there was a list ahead of time, which is sort of abnormal, but we put our name on the list. And then when we went to enter, I was blocked by a White House staffer who said we were not on the list for this gaggle today. Now, normally, if you were going to do something like this, an extended gaggle off camera, you would have one person from each news outlet. As you know, we have multiple people from CNN here every day. So if you're going to do something beyond a pool, which is sort of the smallest group of reporters that then disseminates the information, you would have one person from every news outlet. That is not what the White House was doing today. What the White House was doing was handpicking the outlets they wanted in for this briefing. So Breitbart, the Washington Times, One America News Network, news outlets that maybe the White House feels are more favorable were all allowed in, whereas I was blocked from entering, Politico was blocked from entering, the New York Times, the LA Times, all of these news outlets were blocked from going to a gaggle. And Brooke, as you pointed out, on a normal day-to-day basis, this would be an on-camera, on-the-record briefing in the White House briefing room where anyone at any of these news outlets would have a chance to be called on and to answer a question. It's pretty clear that that is not what the White House wanted to do today, and they wanted to just select maybe news outlets that would be more favorable, which I do have to say I think is kind of unfortunate, Brooke, because when you think about the list of priorities that the president was ticking through earlier today, he was talking about serious immigration matters at CPAC. He was talking about serious tax reform, serious healthcare matters, things that our viewers really care about. And when we go into those briefings, that's an opportunity to ask questions about any number of news stories of the day. And today it's clear they did not want CNN to be involved in that.
The story that CNN broke about the FBI and the White House talking when they absolutely shouldn't have been because of this investigation. So Sarah Murray, first joining me, one of our White House correspondents. And so, Sarah Murray, why aren't we there?
Around, that's going to be a 24-hour period. So there's the warm sector, all right? There is the leading edge of the cold front. It is a demarcation. It does come through. Hill country will get some snow as well. All right, 54 degrees, it's balmy, a little dense fog late, 48 degrees suburbs. 62 sun and clouds, late day showers, 56 in the suburbs. Let's go through this forecast. All right, now I want to make a couple of notes. Number one, the front passes tomorrow, and that's why Cruz has gusty. That will be with the front before and after. On Sunday, he has breezy. That's on the backside of a storm, high pressure moving in, the gradient difference, and bringing down the cooler air. Then he has, again, a couple of scattered showers for Tuesday, milder. The next chance of snow, and one of the models has it, and the other one doesn't. Cruz is looking at the American model, which has the possibility of snow Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or the following weekend, not all 3 days, so the possibility, and the European model does not. So we're giving you the last shavings, perhaps, of the winter of 2017. But that's it. Enjoy Sunday, okay? We're now averaging 4.8 degrees above norm, and probably we're going to be 6-7 degrees above the norm before we begin to cool it down a little bit, all right, which is a tremendous number, okay? Let's see what else. G thing was today was funny. It was a dramatic class that kids took between the ages of 5 and 7. And they can really, really challenge. Both teachers were worn out after 1 week because it's a school break, right? So that's a good deal. And then we didn't mention this, did we? That the station won the second most Emmys? Did we mention that at all? Nominations?
You were going to see if you were going to.
Yeah, Corey and Tamsin were not voted, then nominated as the best anchors in the history of the universe, which goes way back. Yep. And let's see what else. The station was nominated. You know, Tamsin and Corey obviously are an award-winning team, so I'll be shocked if they don't win. And they will be shocked if I don't pay for their tickets for the Emmys. So they will be shocked. All right, here we go. Rock and roll. Let's go.
A couple people wrote in snow on Friday with a couple of question marks. It just seems so weird compared to today.
We've gone through this, though, everybody. Remember, we went through 64 degrees or whatever, and then a snowstorm with 10 inches 36 hours later. So we've gone through these market changes. But like I said to you before, Cruise is looking at the American model. The European model does not do this, and it's far away, so we'll see what happens.
You're getting a couple shout outs from Juliet Cornelius Edwards.
Oh, is that one person?
Yeah, that's a cool name.
Juliet Cornelius Edwards?
Great name,
Is
right?
that like royalty or something?
Sounds it.
Okay.
I asked folks in the teas what they were doing today. Gina Daruba says she is at the office because it is tax season and she has to work nonstop.
Whoa, that means she's an accountant, right?
Seems like,
Okay, so good luck to us.
Keith says that he is cruising out on the 19th of March out of New York City and hopes that that day will be good for us.
What was the word he used?
Cruising.
Oh, I thought he said creeping.
No.
Creeping out of New York City. Cruising, we'll have a good time. You know, we're not going to do this in March in terms of figuring it all out. I think the heart of the winter is always the most challenging and fun, which is December, January, and February. So you know how that went, and we had Jim here. And the only, real thing that didn't work out was February.
Keith is laughing and saying that he is not creeping.
Okay.
Rick Helm says, thank you for the nice weather, G.
All right, Rick.
Brian says, what's up with these warm temps and how long will they last?
Well, just look at the 5-day and what he has, okay? He has this cooling down. The substantial cool down will be on the 3rd, and that's Friday. And that period of time from the 3rd through the 8th through the 12th really looks interesting to me in terms of that one last bang and then one last hurrah. But again, that is the American model. See what else we can talk about. We averaged what we talked about, 4.8 degrees above norm, and keep something in mind. If we get, right, like 5 more inches of snow, we're going to hit the normal, all right? Even with all of these mild temperatures, that's pretty good. All right.
Emily DeHope is saying hello as well.
Emily, thanks for following us.
She shared the video too, so shout out
We
for
need
that.
you to get more friends for me. I'm running short compared to...
Emily, it's on you.
Right.
And Omi will take her last question. She says, today's weather was amazing. Any chance we will see the 30s during the day anymore this winter?
Yeah, well, Omi, I think it's going to happen the following Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And even though I don't know you, and I know you invited me to your school, I did go to a drama thing today called Tata, which are kids of your kindergarten age. And boy, how you guys do it is amazing.
She writes, I think she saw your video. She says, those kids were amazing.
Yep.
And Joanne just says, hey, G, can the last hurrah come in like a lion? I'm just not ready for this warm weather just yet.
I think this is a lion to the mid-month period, but we'll see. You know, sometimes what's really interesting, and it's not to we know that February did not work out, but the March pattern could be the February pattern that Jim missed. But that's not an explanation that satisfies a researcher. Something went wrong, and that's going to be his job to figure it out.
Patrick says, have a great weekend, G.
Thank you, Patrick. This is one of our cameras. This is the award-nominated anchor team. Very busy. Okay.
Thanks, G.
reporters. And some people were allowed in and handpicked to come in there, and some people were not. So let's go through and talk about who's excluded first of all.
So first of all, look, here's a headline on CNN.com right now at this moment. White House blocks CNN.
So CNN was excluded from the meeting.
Yes.
New York Times, Los Angeles Times, Politico, and BuzzFeed all excluded from.
Blocked.
So
could not come into the meeting.
Right. So let's talk about what gaggle is. It's less formal than what you usually see. What Melissa McCarthy makes fun of when she makes fun of
right here,
Press Secretary Sean Spicer.
Calling on you,
there.
calling you.
Right.
Not that.
Not that.
But it's a meeting.
It is a
where
meeting,
the press
though,
is
where
coming
press
in,
is there.
Can ask questions, have a conversation.
It's a Q&A. It's a Q&A with the press, just not on camera, just not televised, what we see.
And basically what happened is they said, okay, you can come in, you can come in, you can, not you Politico, not you BuzzFeed, not you New York Times. So that's kind of what we're talking. In fact, here's a picture. This is Glenn Thrush, from New York Times reporter. He's not in the room. He can't come in.
Okay, so this went on to say there was an administration spokesperson who said that the White House had a pool in there so everybody would be represented and get an update from us today, meaning an update from the White House. So the pool usually includes a representative of one from each television station, right, and one print outlet. So in this case, 4 of the 5 major television networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox News, were all invited and attended the meeting. Only CNN was blocked in that case with regard to the TV outlets who were not allowed to be there. New York Times was kept out, Breitbart News was in, Washington Times and One America News Network were also allowed in.
All right, I want to get to your comments because you guys have a lot of comments here on this. The question again, who do you trust in this? Nathan says, I don't trust the media. Lala says, I trust the media. Damaris says, it's time to stop the fake news. Lala says, he is the enemy. Whereas Mike says, the media is the front lines.
All right, well, let's hear some other ones. I stand with anyone who doesn't work with #alternative facts. That's coming from Liz. Darama says maybe by not letting CNN in, we will get the truth now. Edwin says lying to the people. Natasha says notice the media organizations that are being omitted from the meeting are the ones that bring questions to the power of the administration. That is pure dictatorship.
Yeah, you see again, New York Times, LA Times, Politico, BuzzFeed, CNN blocked as well. This interesting comment from Lane. She says, it's so funny how fake it is now. I remember how real the news was when he took out a full-page ad out on those innocent black young men who allegedly raped the Central Park jogger. Again, who were obviously cleared of that crime.
So we were talking about this. Has this ever happened before? Is this something? Because it's called a gaggle. It's not really, what a press briefing is. According to the New York Times, the executive editor of the New York Times, he was quoted as saying nothing like this has ever happened at the White House in our long history of covering multiple administrations of different parties. We strongly protest the exclusion of the New York Times and other news organizations. Free media access to a transparent government is obviously of crucial national interest. Meantime, also interesting to point out, Associated Press and Time Magazine boycotted the gaggle actually going in there because of how it was handled.
Of the way
so they didn't even attend the briefing. They were allowed to attend it, but they didn't attend the briefing because of the way they feel it was handled. White House Correspondents Association, same thing.
So here's a tweet from earlier this month. The fake news media, failing New York Times, NBC News, ABC News, CBS, CNN, is not my enemy of the American people. I just wonder, because I find it we've had presidents before who've had issues with the media. In fact, I'd say most do at some point.
Of course.
There's a back and forth. People don't like certain things.
That's the way it should work that way. That's the way it works.
Again, our job is not just to sort of take and sort of, whatever. We need to question, right? We need to sort of try and get to the bottom of the truth as part of the media. But it seems like there is a straight up war on what the facts are. Right. Like the facts aren't the facts anymore, because now it's like, well,
we don't even know what to call. You don't even know what to call it. What people are referring to as the facts versus the fake news. A lot of smiley faces coming over all of a sudden.
James says, there you go. Cut out anyone who's exposing the truth. Mike says, America's turning into Russia now.
Rosora says he doesn't like when People News call him out on his lies. I love CNN. I'm with you guys 100%.
Let's see. I'm seeing people comparing.
Aaron says, I can't wait for SNL to cover this tomorrow.
Well, that should be interesting. Deneen says, CNN will just make up a story. It doesn't matter if they're there or not. Michael says the press has got to balance the press, and I think Michael kind of agreeing with some of what I was talking about, the role of the press being. Susie says he's just destroying, and I'll put the press back up here. He's just destroying his credibility. She says, Let's see.
It's interesting. The anonymous sources thing is also very interesting because I don't know how you control something like that. First of all, and it turns out, and I read this somewhere. I think I read this with USA Today, but I guess not long after he said that, somebody with the White House said they would talk, but it had to be anonymous. Like not too long after that. So
okay, so honestly, even aside from this past couple months and whatever. The issue of anonymous sources has actually been, one that's been discussed quite for some time among journalists, right?
Sure.
Because ideally, when you're putting a story together, you can identify the people that are telling you what you know.
Right.
Ideally, but there are situations when sources need to be anonymous because for their own safety,
and there's safety
for
issues
their
with that,
job, for XYZ, and there are so many things that have been exposed because of anonymous sources, i.e., Deep Throat, Watergate. You need to obviously use them, but you shouldn't overuse them. Sounds like the president doesn't like them being used at all, at least from his comments there.
Johnny says the president is doing his job. Mike says the media is bad, but Fox News is good. Please. Chris says I trust the media, but I don't trust they can go as far as they need to do to corporate rules.
No, okay.
And Susie says he's just destroying his media credibility.
So this is interesting, right? Because we're talking about the White House sort of bashing the media. In this instance, at least for CNN, blocking some of their access to this gaggle. Not all of their access, mind you, but some of their access to at least that specific meeting.
Right.
At the same time, you can't do that on one hand and say, oh, but then you can't talk to people anonymously because at the same time we've seen a clampdown from the White House, and this is not a thing that's unique to the administration, but a clampdown of you cannot talk without permission from XYZ. So how can information even get out there in general?
And then it you question, what is that information? Are those the facts that you're talking about? Mike says this is just the beginning of a dictatorship. Let's see. Michael says the press has got to balance the president. Susie says exactly. I think maybe referring to Michael.
It's interesting here. I'm looking here, and
a lot of angry. I got a bunch of angry ones.
A ton of angry emojis right now.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing just people referring to Hitler. A lot of them. A lot of different people in various comments. Let's see.
Rick says, I never saw a president get so much disrespectful ever.
Sally says, this man has turned the White House into a circus act.
Patrick asked, didn't Obama do the same thing with Fox News?
No, I'm not sure that they did this in the same way. And certainly I would say that while President Obama did bash Fox News, and there's no question about that, I don't think he did it with the ferocity that we're seeing.
Well, I think this was done so publicly, and so publicly in terms of then there's Twitter involved with it, and comments, and capital letters.
And look, I watched, and we all have seen a lot of interviews with President Obama over the past 8 years. I don't remember him ever calling Fox News the failing Fox News network or straight
enemy
up
of the people.
Enemy of the people. I mean, those are kind of words and phrases that are sort of on another level versus I think
those evoke a lot of different things. Those are words that evoke a lot of emotion. Susie says this madness not so public like this. He was classic Obama who will stand up to him.
Paul says, okay, this is a good comment from Paul. And I say good, it's just good as an interesting, not necessarily as I agree or disagree with it. Paul says, report the real news and there will be no problem. So Paul believes that really the issue is that the media just is fake. And if the media wasn't fake, then we'd all be happy and everyone would be great.
Janine says, why are accomplishments ever reported? I think you're saying never reported. They pick apart everything he says.
Okay, let's see here. Susie says stand up to him.
People need to give him a chance. He is our president, like it or not. That's coming from Heidi Schmidt tonight.
Virginia says, how about reading a positive comment? I feel like we're reading quite a few positive comments.
Yeah, we're reading anything that comes. I don't see hers.
I'm looking at yours. I feel like we have read comments that bash the media, comments that
positive
bash
of
the president.
what?
But yeah, so I'm not sure what you mean by positive, but I know that we have been reading both because we're getting both.
Yep. You guys do a really good job of putting them out there and then repeating them sometimes. Please do that because sometimes they come over so fast that we don't get to see them and we don't mean to miss them, but we want to see what you have to say about it. We want to also show you what's coming up before we run out of time at 5 o'clock today because it's Friday, it's beautiful. We're going to be talking about the weather, talking about another gorgeous weekend. Like, we're close to 70 degrees. I'm allowed to say
It's
that, right? That is
unbelievable.
unbelievable. I was walking
It's
around
unreal.
today and I thought, I don't even need a sweater on. But we have some video that is just really incredible. This video, it's horrifying, and you can't stop watching it at the same time.
Well, okay, so this happened on City Island. Okay, this was just like this massive brawl. This is a seafood restaurant, and you can see people just throwing chairs. I mean, this is insane.
Throwing chairs, like at people who are already on the ground falling. Just picking up anything.
That?
It is. I do not get it. Chasing people, which I don't know what the chair thing is. Like, I've never seen so many chairs thrown. There's not
It's like a
punches
wrestling
thrown.
match,
Yeah, it's just crazy. Anyway, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that video tonight. Also, an Amber Alert that was issued earlier in the day. The outcome of that as well.
Little girl is safe.
Little girl is safe, but a sad outcome in that case, actually involving her mother.
So, all right, guys, we've got a lot for you coming up. A lot for you, including this. I mean, what in the world is this thing? 15. I'm sorry, I can't even believe what I'm seeing.
All right, let's get some more of your comments before we jump out of here. Lori says, I don't care for him. He's not my president. Michael says, who is fact checking, the news or the president? Well, that's what a lot of people ask. You know, where do different things come from? Susie says, I'm proud of the news media. Never stop standing up to him, please. Brian says, how can we trust a president that lied in front of everyone and said that it was the information he was given, and he's saying that the news is fake?
Damaris says, it's amazing to me with all that Obama did to destroy our country, he didn't get all of this hate. Let the man do his job, report the positive things that he is doing. Why don't you?
All right, Jackie says, Pix 11 News is the best. Love you guys. Jackie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. A lot of people using the word dictator. I see it just one after another. I know you saw Hitler, but I'm seeing dictator over and over and over again. Let's see. Let's end with one more. Chris says, I feel like it's hard to watch the media when there are so many sensational stories and not a lot of in-depth individual stories, especially on our local stations and affiliates. We try to do in-depth. We really do. Dan Manarino's been doing a lot with Rikers Island, and we have a lot of investigative going on, especially with Mary Murphy.
Absolutely. So
we will take your advice and keep it coming and try to bring it to you as much as we can.
Yeah, all right, guys.
And also news of the day.
By the way, share this video. Keep comments coming even after we end it, because we keep reading it. We enjoy it. Keep reading the comments coming. And make sure you tune in 20 minutes to see us at 5 o'clock.
See you soon.
shattered the old record of 72, set back in 1982, 79 correct temperature in Nashville, 75 in Charlotte, strong southerly wind flow, and we are watching a potential for strong to severe thunderstorms from the Ohio Valley southward through parts of Kentucky into Tennessee. Now, our best chance of severe weather for us will be well after midnight tonight as we watch out line of showers and thunderstorms coming in from the west. So we'll see these developing after 10 to 11 o'clock and watch on the all-time chance of thunderstorms from here. Most likely between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. That's our greatest potential risk for thunderstorms, and there will be that chance that some of these could contain some damaging winds and hail, heavy rainfall, and then look how quickly we get to turn colder for your Saturday. We're talking highs for Saturday only in the 40s by the late afternoon, 47 degrees by 3 o'clock, down to 42 by 5 o'clock. Well, much more. Your weekend forecast, plus a look at the latest Michael radar coming up.
Thanks so much, Mark. And as you are out enjoying this evening, you can always stay up to date with the Storm Team 11 forecast, our live radar as well on WJHL.com. Just click on the weather tab up top.
Well, today, flags are once again hung high at the Johnson City, Washington County Veterans Memorial after they were stolen on Thursday.
Veterans told News Channel 11 Symphony Sherman they were beyond surprised someone would take flags from a place honoring the people who made the ultimate sacrifice.
Did you see the Sargento email we just got?
The flag, along with a prisoner of war missing action flag, was stolen Thursday.
It's beyond belief.
Bob Rainbow is a retired veteran. He says that for him, that flag has a special meaning.
Mine's updated. What is it?
What, Sargento? We saw your story, expanded recall, kindly requesting you stop writing the segment. The story sounds like Sargento just announced another recall when this was announced on February 17th. The expanded recall is now a week old. We don't want to mislead consumers that there's yet another expansion. We ran that yesterday, so
Yeah.
So we made it out like more got recalled, and it's not. That was all.
Where are you seeing this?
Oh, it's from Daniel Hernandez. He didn't say that. Daniel Hernandez.
Is it?
It's in my clutter.
Okay.
It came at
Here, I'll print it out for you
4:46.
so you can have it in seconds.
The flags were donated by Congressman Phil Rose's office in Rolling Thunder Chapter 4. Johnson City Police said about an hour ago that there were no suspects in the flag robbery at this time. No, not far from the Veterans Memorial, police are investigating the theft of another kind of flag. People in the Tree Streets neighborhood say they've seen rainbow flags snatched from their front porches. Today, Johnson City Police say they've received as many as 5 complaints of stolen flags flown on porches as a sign of support for the Tri-Cities LGBT community. Police reports have been filed by people in the 300 block of West Locust and the 400 block of West Poplar. Police said they're not sure if the rainbow flag thefts are at all connected to this. A report of an animal carcass and nails thrown in front of a house on West Maple Street, also in the Tree Streets area. The owner of the house said she thought it was a hate crime directed at her because of the numerous rainbow flags on her home. Neighbors rallied, placing flags on theirs as a sign of support for her.
A man suspected of robbing a Carter County pharmacy at gunpoint is in jail tonight following a manhunt that lasted several hours last night. The Carter County Sheriff's Office arrested 36-year-old Jason Stout and charged him with armed robbery. Officers found him inside a home after obtaining a search warrant. The Carter County Sheriff's Office says Stout walked into the Hampton Pharmacy on Thursday afternoon and pulled a gun on employees. They say he got away with medication and left the scene in a red Explorer with a broken window covered by a trash bag. Police say a tip from someone who saw that vehicle led them to the home on Keenberg Road in Elizabethton, where they arrested Stout. Officers transported him to the Carter County Jail in Elizabethton. He's being held under a $50,000 bond. He's due back in court April 11th.
A man wanted on 5 counts of child rape and 4 counts of statutory rape is in jail tonight. The Washington County, Virginia Sheriff's Office arrested 20-year-old Brandon Toole in a room at the Red Carpet Inn at Bristol, Virginia. Toole was wanted in Bristol, Tennessee. The U.S. Marshals Service assisted the Sheriff's Office with the arrest yesterday. Toole's in the Abingdon Regional, Southwest Virginia Regional Jail. He's being held tonight without bond.
A Wise Virginia man will learn his punishment in April after pleading guilty to child abuse. Christopher Todd Clark entered the guilty plea Thursday. In addition to the child abuse charge, the Commonwealth's attorney Chuck Slump said Clark also pleaded guilty to allowing a minor to drive, drug possession, public intoxication, and violating probation. The charges stem from a traffic stop in September. A police report said a 12-year-old was driving and Clark was under the influence of drugs. He